The movie is about a high school teacher named Andy Campbell. He is a very sensitive and shy guy who teaches English. On the last day of the school year, high school students sabotage and joke with their classmates and teachers. In the next scene, a student takes Campbell's place in the car park, but the teacher is reluctant to do anything about it because he is an easygoing person and hesitates to make decisions. On the other hand, the history teacher at the school, Strickland, is the most feared man. He enters the hall and asks the students to return the baseball bat that has been replaced with a computer for watching pornographic films. Later, the board of directors plans to lay off the teachers in order to reduce the budget, and the atmosphere in the teacher's room is tense. Advertisers are concerned about their performance evaluation. Later, Campbell becomes concerned as his wife Maggie is expecting the birth of their second child. He has worked at the school for over 22 years. He tells his wife that he has just been fired from his job and plans to steal school property. But then, suddenly, Strickland arrives, which made him back down from his decision and change his mind. Later he gets pranked by a student. He draws lewd pictures on the board. Campbell tries to give him advice, but to no avail, as the student pulls more pranks that make Campbell a target of ridicule. Meanwhile, Holly pulls him out of class and tells him that his work may be safe, as the administration has already dismissed other English language teachers. In the next scene, he receives a call from his wife, who reminds him to attend a talent show in which their daughter is participating. Later, he hears strange sounds emanating from the bathroom, and he rushes to find out its source. He ends the call and checks the place. The student is seen watching pornographic videos and doing illegal acts. He asks the student to put on his clothes and leave, but the student refuses. He gets annoyed and yells at the student, which attracts the attention of Monet. She catches Campbell in an awkward position and thinks he's a pedophile for watching the student. He ignores the teacher and heads to the class. On his way he meets Strickland, who asks for his help in setting up video and audio equipment for his classroom. But he refuses to help him because he is late for class. But when Strickland rescues him from his students' pranks, he changes his mind and agrees to help. It turns out that Strickland is trying to play a video on the cassette player, but the machine shuts down after playing for a few seconds automatically. A student named Neil plays a prank on his teacher using a remote application. When he finds out about this, he takes his phone and smashes it. Neil borrows a phone from another student and continues fiddling with the device. Strickland rushes out of the classroom before returning with an axe. Later, the principal hears of the incident and calls Strickland and Campbell into the office. Before confronting the principal, Strickland warns Campbell not to disclose it. However, when the principal threatens to fire them if they don't tell him about the incident, Campbell backs down and accuses Strickland, leading to his dismissal. Strickland is enraged by this betrayal and challenges Campbell to a fight after school. The news of the fight soon spreads among the teachers. The students use the opportunity to spread rumors about Strickland to make Campbell urinate his pants. Some say he was a former cop, while others say that he was working in the special forces. Holly and other teachers assured Strickland would finish Campbell with a single punch. In the next scene, Campbell tries to do everything he can to stop the fight, but to no avail. Monet approaches Strickland and advises him to confront Campbell with a knife, as she believes Campbell is a sexual harasser. Campbell talks to Neil and asks him to withdraw his word about the incident in the classroom. Neil agrees, but only on the condition that he brings a MacBook Pro in return. Campbell agrees. After his request is fulfilled, Campbell hurries to the Apple store, but there he encounters his wife and daughter. When his wife saw him at the market during school hours, she thought he had been fired. He was offended and made it clear to her that he was still in his job, as he gave away the MacBook he had bought. Meanwhile, he buys another MacBook and gives it to Neil. The two meet with the manager and tell him that the accident was faked to convince him to reinstate Strickland's job. The plan succeeds, and Strickland gets his job back. However, when Campbell calls him to inform him of the developments that have occurred, Strickland becomes even more angry, and he tells him that he has not forgotten his betrayal and that the battle is still going on because he wants to teach Campbell a lesson. Campbell was left with no other choice. He calls the police to report Strickland, but they laugh at him because he's afraid of another teacher. Later, Campbell collapses in class, but the mockers have no mercy on him. They put a rope around his feet, use a horse to pull him out of class, and then spray paint on him. He loses patience with being the nice guy, so he decides to get Strickland involved in a case that will land him in jail by putting drugs in his bag. In the next scene, Campbell calls Neil and buys drugs from him. On his return, he encounters the principal of the school, who tells him that his evaluation will be at 2 o'clock before his daughter's presentation. He puts the drugs in Strickland's briefcase before telling the police. The police arrive at the school and search for the drugs, but the trained dog can't detect anything, which forces them to leave. Campbell steals drugs from Holly and heads to Strickland's class, but he encounters him there. As it turned out, Strickland discovered the matter and then threatened him with an axe, which drew the attention of the police. After taking a statement from the school security guard, the police arrest the two. In the cell, Campbell blames Strickland for what happened to them, and he tries to get him into new trouble with a large prisoner, where he sows sedition between them so that they fight. He tells the prisoner trumped-up lies implicating Strickland. Campbell goes to Strickland and turns him against the prisoner, but he tells him that he wants to call off the fight because he is not a man for fighting. Campbell is shocked and he tries to ascertain whether the fight was actually called off. Strickland nods his head, and this means that the battle has been restarted, so the huge prisoner comes and the fight begins. Strickland realizes that Campbell has deceived him, but he still fights the prisoner and takes control of him, as he tells Campbell that the fight is back on again. At the same time, a policeman comes to tell them that the drugs Strickland found in his possession were, in fact, aspirin. Then he releases them. The time indicates 2 p.m. Campbell hurries to the school for his assessment, where he learns that Holly and the others have been expelled. He walks into the principal's office and tells him that they have laid off several employees and he can keep his job. However, Campbell was not pleased with this decision. He accused the school of taking teachers' work recklessly and he decided to quit his job before he left. After this situation, he went directly to his daughter Ally's school, and he watched her sing a boring song. The performance was very important to Ally because she wanted to prove herself to the bullies. Her father was in awe and then went straight to Maggie and asked her to get a DJ to play his daughter's favorite song. Then the two headed to the stage and gave an amazing performance. But the teacher cut off the music from the stage, despite the admiration of the children for her performance with her father. He was proud of his daughter for standing up to bullies. Later, he goes to the school to confront Strickland. The students are proud of him for coming to fight. The fight begins with Strickland hitting Campbell and dropping him, but he gets up again and receives many blows. Strickland manages to get back and starts chasing him. Then Campbell gets a fire extinguisher and sprays Strickland with it. He hit him with it on the head and knocked him to the ground. It seems that he won the fight and the students cheer for him, but Strickland surprises them and strikes him again. Meanwhile, Campbell's phone rings and wakes him up and informs him that his wife is about to give birth, and he takes him to the hospital. In the next scene, Campbell visits his wife Maggie's room, and he explains to her everything about how to defend his friends and submit his resignation from his job. She feels proud of him and then she prepares to deliver their child. The film ends with Campbell and Maggie having a barbecue party and inviting all of Campbell's friends. It turns out that the fight has become famous on the internet and exposed the corruption of the school administration. As a result of this pressure, Campbell and Strickland are sent back to school. The headmaster arrives at the party unannounced and orders Campbell and Strickland to return to work. He agrees, but on condition that all his friends get him back to work. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.